Hello.
Hi, we're
Oh,
back.
we're back. I feel like we're not really back though. We still have one more week. Well, for
True,
me, one, you two.
true, true, true.
And we are talking about back to
Back to
school.
school.
Oh, jeez. Oh, I'm like, we had a really good summer, definitely, but I am like ready to get back in the routine.
Yeah, summer is like a weird thing because at least where we live, it's like all of the things happen in the first like 6 to 8 weeks of summer, and then there's a couple weeks where there's absolutely hardly any camps or things to
Hmm.
do, and so you're like trying to figure out what to do with the kids and
Yeah.
which day and taking days off and who's going to take the kids which days. And so I'm at the point where I'm like absolutely like, yes, please, let's get this show on the road.
Yeah.
Let's send them off. Let's, launch this year.
Yeah. Agreed. I think for me, it's like, I think my like motto, whatever you want to say, is maybe like, do you go to bed anymore? Do you have a bedtime? What
Yeah,
is happening? Like it is just gone
they've gone feral.
pure chaos. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how like that there's that creep of like, and like my kids and I like to kind of watch different things over the summer, whether it's like a series
Hmm.
or movies or thing. The hard thing with movies is I feel like it's hard to get everybody to agree on the same movie. So the
Hmm.
series seems to be like a little bit more of an equalizer, but they're like, they'll have to get up early the next day, like, well, can we watch Runway? And I'm like, no.
Right. You have to
Why
get
not?
up.
I'm like, because it's 9:30.
Right. Like go to bed and go to bed because I want to go to bed. What age does it shift? You have one that's a little bit older than mine. What age does it shift where they just go to bed? Like you don't have to put them to bed.
I'll let you know.
Okay. We're not there yet.
I mean, I think that there are kids who are 11
Yeah.
or older who do that. I
Hmm.
just think that, and maybe this is also because of the fact that they're not with me all the time.
Hmm.
That there's something about bedtime that's really important to them,
Hmm.
and so I'm sure there are people who would argue that sending your tween or your teen to straight to bed without you involved is important.
Hmm.
It's a time that's really important to her, and she connects with me, and that's when she tells me things and asks me questions.
Yeah.
So
It's one of my, even though,
I'm going
it,
with it.
yeah, you know what? I agree. Sometimes it's like, it depends on the day, right? So sometimes it's like, I'm exhausted, she's exhausted, it's not going well. Um, and then some nights we can sit there and chat and like, it's the best. So I can see both. Um, let's talk about co-parenting and back to school because that's a whole nother thing, right? For school and co-parenting, what that looks like.
Yeah.
So in our case, we're pretty amicable. Typically, he either comes over to watch her get on the bus or watch her get off the bus the first day,
Mm-hmm.
depending on kind of schedules and whatnot. This year, we have a meet the teacher night the night before. So we're going to go
Do the
meet
kids
there.
go to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they get to go see their classroom, see their teacher the night before, kind of like so it's nice and fresh in their minds.
Okay. We do it a little differently, but also, I think you're in a town where everybody takes the bus and gets dropped off. In my
Hmm.
town, it's more of a walk to school kind of community. So,
Right.
in years past, I haven't talked about. This is sort of just our history. We usually all will. I think so far in the years past, they've always been with me. So I bring them. I get them out the door, and Dad meets us at school. So they can take some pictures, and
Hmm.
he can sort of wish them a great first day.
Hmm.
And that's gone relatively well. I
Hmm.
mean, it's still awkward,
Yeah.
but you know, I think we're both there for the kids, and that's
Yeah.
what's important.
Right.
And so we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I think those interactions can be awkward, and I think they do get easier over time, I would
Sure.
say. Um, and you learn what works and what doesn't as
Right.
you go through it, right? Like, maybe, doing this doesn't work, but something else does. So,
Right. Yep.
What about school shopping? What do you do for school shopping?
So we separately handle like new clothes and shoes. Well, we're still figuring shoes out, but
Yeah.
I try to ensure that like we're both buying shoes throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then supplies, it's sort of been touch and go. Like sometimes it's like I bought these things, can you get these things?
Mm-hmm.
Now the lists are kind of starting to diverge, so I don't know if it's going to be a matter of like, can you handle this list and I'll handle this list.
All right. That is
There are a
sort of
number
the
of ways.
advantage of having two kids. It's like you take one, I
Sure.
take the other. I could see that.
Sure. Or there's the option of just saying like, do you want me to just pick up the stuff and I'll let you know how much you owe me? That's another way of
Yeah.
handling it. I don't know. How do you guys do it?
So, I mean, she's still pretty little. She's going into third grade. I'm like asking you, third grade, right?
Third. Yep.
But so far, I usually get the supplies. And then he actually typically buys the school clothes, and that's his like clothes contribution for the year, basically. Which works out fine because, we get usually a big amount, and then I fill in through the rest of the year. Not going to happen that way this year because she like outgrew everything in the middle of the summer. So like it was either like have a naked child or go shopping.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna pick up like get like first day of school thing, and she needs a raincoat and things like that, and then we're actually gonna go together, and do that. But it's like
Yeah. I think that's one of the benefits of being like a long time out from your split and your divorce is that you have I just think it's like calmer waters.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that is one of the things. It also depends on where you live, right?
It
Because
depends on where you live. It depends on the people. I mean, like,
yeah,
and like I hope that I'm never, I mean, like pretending that like, oh, why can't everyone do this? Like, I can, like, it completely depends on the situation and the person. If you're not safe, if you're not comfortable, like, don't. Like, it's not going to provide anything great for your kids if, like, you're fighting in the store.
yeah. The experience is going to be miserable for everyone. You're better off just doing it separately.
Right.
Um. So yeah, I think those are just some of the things I think that people can find challenging.
Yes.
What about like now? Fall is a big time for like activities and registering for things,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know, um, you know, basing things off of like who's gonna be where on which days of the week. How have you guys navigated that?
Um, Typically, I do most of the like bringing her to things. I try to plan it on because I have her more weeknights, so I try
Mm-hmm.
not to plan it on nights that he has her because they're literally just doing dinner and home.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but it actually coming up this year, she'll have one activity that once every other week will be on his night. And so he was a little, we were like, but it was the only night that it could happen.
Right.
So we made that work, and I gave him the idea, and he went with it, which was great. That like he was going to make it, because it's a little bit of a drive from his house.
Yes.
So I'm like, well, like make it a like special thing and grab dinner together, or there's a park right down the street or something. So he told her that idea, and she was really excited about it. So I think, and then the other activity she does, I will bring her to. Or I'm lucky I have a mom who helps me, who lives right down the street.
Okay.
You?
So, I think for us, it's sort of I don't know. It's sort of what ended up working out that the activities, for the most part, land on my days. Um, not really. I'm not really sure how much I want to get into that, but
Yeah.
but obviously we split the cost of these, and we talk about them before they're registered because
Right.
It is important, I think, for both parents to be on the same page about the activities.
Yeah.
I've known people who've had actual terrible arguments with their ex because of where the activities are happening, when
Yeah.
the activities are happening,
The cost.
over the cost of it,
Mm-hmm.
or whether or not they want their kid to be in those activities, whether there's
Right.
activities that the other parent wants the kid to be in that the kid doesn't want to be in.
Right.
It can be a real source of conflict.
Oh my God, absolutely.
And that's a hard one to advise people on because
Right.
it's always so specific to your situation. But
Yeah. I would say, like, pick your battles too, though. I
yeah,
mean, some of them are worth it, I think. Some of them are
oh,
worth it.
yeah. I mean, yes. And I would also say, there may be an argument for, you know, if your ex is being unreasonable, like, don't give them cover. If they're being really particularly difficult or unreasonable and your kid wants to know why they can't do something, you know, ask your other parent. Ask them
Right.
why.
Yeah, you can be honest. I mean, you don't have to be negative about them if you're being honest.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's a difference between like what's the word, bad mouthing your ex
Right.
versus just being like
Right.
honest and say like, I'm sorry, we can't agree on this.
Right.
I would never say something like, well, I would let you do it, but
Right.
but to say like, this is something we can't seem to get to an agreement on. I'm sorry.
Right.
And that's tough.
That
That's a
is.
tough thing.
Absolutely.
Anything else we related to
Oh,
that?
the only thing I had left to thinking about is school emails and communications. You're getting a whole new group of like teachers and like for some reason the school that my daughter's in like updates what software they're using every year.
Yeah.
So, and all of that stuff. How do you navigate that? Are you both on it or one of you on it, one of you
Yeah.
communicating?
Yeah. I have found it particularly, in talking to others, if there's like high conflict, in general, it's probably easiest to have you both on the email. So you're
Right.
getting, whether or not they read it
Right.
is like,
Yeah.
but, yeah, that I found to be like the best option, especially if you're splitting half the time. Like if they're not on the email, it creates another job for you.
Absolutely. Agree.
And I would also say, where was I going with this? The emails, the communication. Yeah, I have not been very successful at this, but like there's so much like forms and paperwork and documents and like
So
who's
much.
doing what. It could be beneficial to sort of say like anything related to X is yours to manage. Anything related to Y, I will handle. Like if you have any questions, we can talk about it. So, I
Like a
think
divide and conquer.
yeah, well, I think like especially if you're in a 50-50 situation, it's like, well, you want a 50-50. Like it doesn't mean that one parent has to handle the whole load of all the other back like admin
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
Like,
part of it for
it's a
sure.
part of it, right?
Yep. Agreed.
So, those are all things to think about, and of course, like it's all relative to the degree of conflict that you have with your
Right.
ex and how amicable things are.
Well, we wish your kids a great year.
Yes.
And you guys a good year because I mean, think, as in any part of this journey, these situations, back to school and holidays and all this stuff, it just always brings up stuff and, we're here. So we get it. We're in it. All right. Bye.
Bye.